In our last lesson, we saw how God used Joseph to save his family and all of Egypt from a devastating famine. Joseph's brothers tried to harm him, but they could not stop God's work of saving them from this disaster. As second in command, Joseph had the power to reserve the land of Goshen for his family, and there they continued to prosper for many years. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that, when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. This new Pharaoh rose to power, who had never heard of Joseph or the miracle God had done through him. This Pharaoh saw the Israelites and became afraid that they would join their enemies and conquer them. Through his fear, he decided to try to control them. He put taskmasters over them. He made them slaves and put them to work. And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. Despite the harsh conditions of slavery, the Israelites continued to grow, and Pharaoh remained fearful. He told the women who helped the Israelite mothers give birth, to kill any new baby boys born, but to let the girls live. However, these midwives were not like Pharaoh. They did not give in to fear. They respected and loved God, and they obeyed God rather than Pharaoh. Since these midwives did not do what Pharaoh wanted, he commanded his soldiers to kill any baby boys they found, to take them from the Israelites and throw them in the river. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived, and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, a basket, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flads by the river's brink. There was one brave woman who had a son, and she tried to hide it, like I'm sure many of the other women did. But after 3 months it was hard to, so she put him in a basket and hid him among the reeds in the river. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flads, she sent her maid to fetch it. And she opened it, and saw the child, and behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. This mother did not leave her child alone in the reeds in the river. She let her daughter, Miriam, watch over it, to make sure it didn't float away or didn't get found. Well, Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to wash, and she found the basket, and when she opened it, she saw the baby. You might wonder that the daughter of the man who commanded babies to be killed would be just as cruel. But she had compassion and took this child for her own, naming him Moses. Miriam came out from hiding, and she immediately suggested the perfect woman to care for this child. The child would grow through some messy years that Pharaoh's daughter was probably happy to skip, but the baby's mother was all too glad to take the child. This was God's miraculous hand at work, protecting Moses, keeping him safe, and allowing him to be raised by his mother. Moses was just a baby, but he would play an important part in God's plans. After Moses had grown and had to go back to the Pharaoh's daughter as her son, he saw the suffering of God's people. Despite what the Egyptians may have taught him, he wanted to help the Israelites. When he was a man, he saw an Egyptian beating a slave. God had a plan for saving the Israelites from slavery, But Moses tried to do things on his own, in his own wisdom, by his own power. He killed the Egyptian and made the Pharaoh angry at him. To keep from facing the Pharaoh's wrath, Moses had to run away. He came to the land of Midian, where he joined a family of shepherds. He settled down and married. Maybe he forgot about the Israelites. Maybe he gave up trying to help them. But God never forgot, and he still had a plan. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Moses made some mistakes. He wanted to do what was right, but he tried doing things in his own way, by his own strength. God made a promise to Jacob many years ago when he first entered the land of Egypt. He promised Jacob that just as he was leading him to a place of safety from the famine, so he would bring them out again. God has his own perfect timing for working out his plan. Sometimes all we can do is be patient and do what is right in the moment. When we try to do things on our own, things can get messy and go horribly wrong. But when we trust God, waiting on his plan and his timing, things work out much better. Moses tried to do things his way and failed. But in our next lesson, Moses did things God's way and led the people out of Egypt.